Hey everyone, how's it going? Just another sort of casual video like this. I had a cool little idea and I'd like to do it. So, just reading the script off my screen again. So I apologize for the lack of, eye contact. But yeah, so here's the idea. Since I'm doing videos on a lot of different games now, I'm playing a bunch of games that I've never played before. So I'm bound to make some new favorites every now and then as I play through them all. So I thought, what if I make a video about my current top 10 favorite games of all time, and at the end of the year I'm going to rank every game that I've played during the year, every new game that I've played, and maybe after a few years I'll do another one of these videos, like my top 10 favorite games, but updated because I've played a bunch of new ones. I hope that makes sense. So here's the rules, only one game per franchise, and that's about it. So, before we start the top 10 list, I hope I'm not going too fast for you, I want to do some honorable mentions. These are games that I love dearly, but some reason prevents them from ending up on the top 10 list. First of all is A Hat in Time. Now this is just a collector's edition box thing I've got. It's got like a PC download code in it. I played it on PS4. But yeah. Reason being is that I've only played through it once, and I don't remember too much about it, like specifics, aside from it being a fantastic game. And I haven't played any of the DLCs, and I know there's a lot of new content for it, because, they don't really seem to care about the PS4 version. But I think I remember saying a few months ago, or just a little while ago, they tweeted that they're actually going to try and support the PS4 and Xbox One versions now, which is great. But yeah, I can't really say it's one of my all-time favorites, because I don't know enough about it. I've only played through it once. Okay, next game is Heavenly Sword. Not really too much of a reason why it's not on the list. I've played it a bunch of times. It's just a great game, but I don't think it's just as good as the other games on the list. So yeah, Heavenly Sword, great game. Next up is SpongeBob SquarePants, Creature from the Krusty Krab. This is one of my favorite games from my childhood, but the reason it's not on the list is I haven't played it in quite a while. I think the last time I played it I was maybe 15 or 16. Yeah, I can't really say if it holds up because I really just don't remember. And I haven't really tried to look at it with an objective lens sort of thing. So yeah. Yeah, I'll play this again sometime soon and see how it goes. Next game, Burnout 3. Fuck me, what a terrific game. Probably the best racing game I've ever played. It only just beats Jak X for me, though not by much. They're very close for me. Only reason this isn't on the top 10 list is despite playing for countless amounts of hours since I was 7 years old when I first got the game, I've never beaten it. Yeah, I haven't beaten this one. About half a year ago, or maybe a year ago now, I sunk like 15 or 20 hours into it. Got getting gold on every single event. There was some events that I was spending hours at a time on trying to get gold, just shaving off seconds. And just perfecting certain tracks, and I accidentally erased my save file, and I just wanted to fucking die. Yep, wasn't very happy about that one. So I'll get around to beating this one day, and it'll be a lot of fun because I really do love this game. Okay, last honorable mention is South Park: The Stick of Truth, but this is Fractured Butthole. I don't have the PS3 game. I got it with the download code that came with Fractured Butthole, but I mean this is a terrific game as well. But Stick of Truth, I really love the game. As a massive fan of South Park, I really love the show, and you've probably heard this a bunch of times if you know anything about the game, but it is the perfect South Park game for a South Park fan. Yeah. The only thing that sucks is the stupid censorship that happened here in Australia. It's fucking dumb. But yeah, the reason I haven't got it on my top 10 list is I've only played through it once. So yeah, I need to do a couple replays to really get the max amount of content out of it. A common thing you may have noticed with these honorable mentions is I've only played them through once, or just don't know enough about them at this time. I don't want to include a game on this list that I've only played once, or haven't played recently enough to actually give my thoughts on. It would feel disingenuous. I've played the games on my actual top 10 list numerous times, so my thoughts on them are a lot more concise than a game I've only played a single time. With all that said, let's get straight into it. Okay, so just before we start this list, I just want to let you guys know, I just I just recorded the entire video and I didn't press record on the fucking microphone. So if I look like I'm gonna rip someone's throat out during the rest of this video, I apologize. That's the reason why. So let's do it again. Alright, starting this list at number 10 is Crash Bandicoot. You know, technically, I'd say Twinsanity is the better game, but I gotta go with the original. Not the insane version either, as I haven't played that enough. We're talking about the very original. Has the game aged well? Not really. Is it still a ton of fun? Hell fucking yeah it is. Out of the original trilogy, I always found myself coming back to this one. I'm not really quite sure why. Crash 3 had too much extra crap I didn't really care about, and Crash 2, while I've only played it a handful of times, to me, it just felt like it was just a not as good version of Crash 3's core gameplay, and just wasn't as fun as the original. I just found it a bit frustrating at times. I don't know why I feel this way, so don't hate me. I love all three games, but I just seem to gravitate towards the original more. I remember the first time I beat this fully, I did it in one sitting on my PS2. I was maybe about 12, and fuck, my thumb was killing me from using the D-pad so much. I love the tough as nails difficulty, I love how tense it can get, and even though I know that Crash's movement and feel is clunky and slippery, you grow to master it over the course of the game, and I ended up loving it. Not much else to say, aside from the fact that I've only got the disc. Yeah, Crash Bandicoot, everyone. Alright, coming in at number 9 is Max Payne. Oh man, I love this game. I never thought I would like this game as much as I did. It's not the kind of game that I'd check out, especially at the time when I did. I was about 16. As you could probably guess, I'm a platformer guy, so a third-person shooter like this isn't exactly the kind of game that I'd check out. But I had it in my collection when I bought all my mates' PS2 games years back, and never got around to playing it. So one night on a whim, I decided to try it, and I'm so glad I did. Max Payne is one of the most solid games I've ever played. Everything from the gameplay to the music to the story, tone and characters is so gripping and incredible. While the game definitely shows its age and can be kinda clunky to play at times, it does not detract from how much fun it is. The slow motion bullet time gameplay never gets old, the nightmare sequences always give me chills and genuinely left an impact on me when I first played them, and the story is just amazing. It's simple and straightforward, but the presentation, voice acting, and amateurish charm all come together to make it better than the sum of its parts. It doesn't feel like you're playing a game with bits of story spliced in between sections of gameplay. It feels like you're playing the story. You are acting out Max's revenge. Maybe this isn't an element that's really special nowadays, since most games aim for this, but this was 2001, an era where stories in video games were only just starting to be taken seriously. Truth be told, I haven't played Max Payne 2 or 3 yet, mainly because the save and checkpoint system in the PS2 version of 2 sucks ass, and I haven't been bothered to play it on PC yet, but I'll get there soon. As it is though, Max Payne is an unforgettable experience that I recommend to anyone. But if you're gonna play it on console, play the PS4 version. This one, it kinda sucks. Number 8 goes to Sly Raccoon. Some of the best gameplay in a 3D platformer, Sly 1 is superb. From the fantastic art direction and level design, to the great story and lovable characters, to the excellent platforming gameplay. Sly is so much fun to play and is very clearly the evolution of Crash Bandicoot's linear platforming gameplay. I'm honestly not really sure what else to say about this game. I think my only big criticism of this game is the levels that stray away from the core platforming gameplay. They're just not very fun and can be very frustrating. But other than that, this is a top-notch platformer that I'm sure most of you have already played, so I guess I'll just move on. Number 7 is Ratchet & Clank. Needless to say, I grew up with this series. I've played almost all the games and enjoyed them all, to some extent. Even the reboot has some fun to be had, as shit as it is. Even though I have the most nostalgia for the second game, I think the first game has been my favorite for a long time. I understand this is a lot of people's least favorite, because you can't upgrade your guns or health and you can't strafe, but honestly, I don't care. I like the fact that this game requires a slower approach to combat. I won't go in depth as I have a video in the works about the Ratchet series, but that's not the main reason I like this game the most. I love the story, undoubtedly the best in the series and the most realized. The tone, atmosphere, and design of a lot of the levels is fucking on point, and the music is easily the best in the series. It's fucking killer. I also like how, even though there's an emphasis on shooting, the game still has a lot of platforming and a big sense of exploration. It really feels like this whole game is a big adventure, and I really love that. I also love how difficult this game could be. I used to play it a heap as a kid, but I never beat it. I would just play the second game a lot, but at some point I decided that I was going to beat this first game. I still remember the amount of trouble I had on Veldin. It was so difficult for me. I didn't have the Rhino or anything, so it was slow going and tense. There hasn't been a single Ratchet game that's been this hard, and it's a bit of a shame. Except of course Gladiator on Exterminator difficulty. There's probably a bunch of other small things about this game that make it one of my favorites, but I think we'll just leave it here. Number 6 goes to Infamous. The other Sucker Punch franchise to make this list, the original Infamous, is amazing. I've loved this game for years, and even after replaying all the games that came after it, I still find this one to be the most replayable and engaging. This game may be dated, and it may be a tad clunky, but I feel that Sucker Punch got it perfect the first time. The gameplay never lets up, the whole playthrough is a blast. The powers are a ton of fun to use, and all the fights in the game had a bunch of ways to approach them. The climbing was fast and fluid, and once you got a decent way through the game, traversal through the city was some of the most fun. The only gripe I have with this game is the whole karma thing. It never really has any impact. Any playthrough, you're either going to pick just good or evil and stick with it, which doesn't leave any room for taking a sort of grey middle path. I guess they just didn't put too much thought into it. Other than that, the story is awesome. I don't remember a bunch about it, as it's been a little while since I've played the game, but I remember when I first beat it, the ending made my jaw physically drop. Goosebumps devoured my body, and I was left fucking stunned. I am so glad that I did not play this game when it first launched, because for one, I would have been 8 years old, and two, because I would have had to wait years for the follow-up, and I don't think I would have been able to do that. So yeah, not sure what else to say. I really need to revisit this series. It's been a while. Alright, top 5, kicking it off with Dark Cloud. This was tough for me, because I knew I wanted to include one of the games in the series in this list, but I had no idea which one to choose. Dark Chronicle has a far better combat system and dungeon layout, as well as a more realized story with great characters. But the more I thought about it, I realized that I've played through Dark Cloud 3 or 4 times, and I've only beat Dark Chronicle once, and my replay on PS4 started months ago and I'm only on chapter 3. Dark Cloud is so easy for me to come back to and revisit, but many things about Dark Chronicle make it hard for me to do that. Maybe I'll cover that game one day if you guys want me to. But Dark Cloud is a game that I love dearly. Along with Kingdom Hearts 2, it was one of the first JRPGs I ever played. I got the both of them from a mate when I was 12 when I bought all his PS2 games, most of which were pretty crappy racing games. But for some reason, Dark Cloud and Kingdom Hearts 2 were part of that lot. I didn't really pay any attention to them for a couple years, but one day I decided to give Dark Cloud a go. I thought it was cool fighting some monsters and building a town. Like I said in my Dark Cloud video, it took me a while to beat the game because going back to it was always daunting because the dungeons were so stressful. So during my first playthrough, I didn't like the game a whole lot. But once I got to the final dungeon, I was extremely captivated by where the game was going, tonally and story-wise. Once I beat the game, I reflected on it. The journey I had just been on. I thought about it a lot. Repeat playthroughs of this game just make me love it more and more. From the great combat and weapon leveling system, to the awesome town building, to the world the game presents to us. I know this game has issues, and I know that most people wouldn't look twice after giving it a shot, but something about this game has just captivated me like no other, which is why it's so high on this list, despite its imperfections. Okay, number 4. Kingdom Hearts 2. My first Kingdom Hearts game, and easily the very best. Kingdom Hearts 2 is a magical experience. As my first game in the series, it's fair to say that I was very lost when it came to the story. During the first few hours, I had no clue what was going on, but I found it really interesting. I wasn't bothered by the slow-paced gameplay of the tutorial because the story sequences had me hooked. I had no clue what was going on, what a Keyblade was, who Sora was, but I didn't really care. I really liked this Roxas character. I really grew attached to him as we went through his final days of summer vacation, and once I got control of Sora, the only part of the story that I really cared about was Roxas. I wanted to know more about him and see what became of him. By the end of the game, I was in love with it, and all the characters. My first playthrough was also fucking weird, as I didn't read a single tutorial and didn't spend any time in the menus, so I had no idea you could change Keyblades or abilities. I assumed all the new Keyblades you got were for your drive forms, which I didn't use at all. So I beat the game with the Kingdom Key and no abilities, and I still loved it. Now that I've played every game in the series, I'll give you my current thoughts on it. The gameplay is top notch. After beating all the secret bosses in the final mix, it feels really rewarding, and like you've mastered the combat system. The combat feels fantastic. The movement, once fully upgraded, is a lot of fun. The worlds you go to, while not really important to the plot, are always fun to fight in. The story is probably the best in the series. It's not my favorite, that goes to Days because it's Roxas' story, and I love the Sea Salt trio, but KH2 has the most solid story in the series. A lot of people say this is where everything gets confusing, but honestly, this game's story is not that confusing. Birth by Sleep maybe gets a tad confusing at times, and maybe a bit inconsistent with the rest of the series, but I feel the series was really solid until Dream Drop Distance, which kinda felt like a fanfiction, like Season 4 of Yu-Gi-Oh! Only difference is, Season 4 of Yu-Gi-Oh! Was fucking badass, but I digress. Kingdom Hearts 2's story feels the most grand, the most consistent, the most heartfelt, had the most tearjerkers, while not being the most powerful ones in the series. If you haven't played this series, definitely give it a shot, and fucking hell Keith, hurry up and make a video about this fucking game! Number 3, Doom Eternal, baby! Fucking yes! The absolute best shooter ever made. No, that is not my opinion, that is a fucking fact. Doom Eternal is the most fast-paced, adrenaline-inducing, testosterone-fueled rampage of a game ever made, and it is magnificent. Once you learn how to play this game well, once you've been its bitch long enough and learn how to make it your bitch, it is magical. Doom Eternal's gameplay loop constantly pushes you right into the action and demands you to play the best you possibly can. You can't play this game with half concentration, you can't half-ass this. This game requires 100% of your attention or you will be fucked. Hard. But the gameplay isn't the only terrific thing this game has to offer. The soundtrack is fucking supreme. One of the very best in a game. I just wish we got a proper release like we did with Doom 2016 so I could really listen to it. But what you hear while massacring demons is blood-pumping rage incarnate, and it is orgasmic. The story is also a really nice treat as well. Doom 2016 set us up with a very interesting world and backstory of the Doomslayer, and this game explores all those concepts even further. I honestly can't see where this series could go next, gameplay and story-wise. The story doesn't end on a cliffhanger like the last one, and I really can't see how they can expand the combat presented in this game. How the fuck could it get any faster and hectic? I know they're currently working on 2 DLCs, which I'm super excited for. Doom Eternal, everyone. Fucking play it. Play 2016 first, but fucking play Doom Eternal. Okay, so number 2 is the most recent franchise that I've played that's on this list, but even though I've only played it this year, it's like fucking magnificent. Like I'm at such a loss of words about how great this game is. Klonoa, Door to Phantomile. God damn it, dude. What a game. Just play it. I don't really know what else to say. Just play it. The gameplay is perfect and fun as hell. The music is some of the best in any video game. The story will rip your fucking heart out and make you eat it, and you will enjoy it. It's a terrific and beautiful game everyone should play. It does not get nearly enough love, so go play it and spread the word. Even after playing most of the series, I still think this first game is the absolute best, so just go play it. Make sure it's the PS1 version though. It's super cheap on PS3, so play it! Do it! Okay, my number one favorite game of all time. You guys ready for this? Jak and Daxter. 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 That's the end of the video, guys. See you later. I really don't know what to say. Of course you all saw it coming. Jak and Daxter is of course my favorite game of all time. This is always going to be the case. No game will ever top this for me. So every time I redo this video of my top 10 favorite games of all time, Jak and Daxter will always be at the top. You can be sure of it. Maybe in the very last video of this that I do, probably years from now, I'll go fully in depth as to why it's my favorite game of all time. It really does seem like an impossible task, fully expressing why this game means so much to me, but I'll try my best. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. I hope you all enjoyed watching me talk about my favorite games. I had a lot of fun doing it. At the end of this year, I will be ranking every new game that I've played this year and giving my overall thoughts on it, so look forward to that as well. It'll sort of be in the same series sort of thing of this video. So every year I'll go through all the new games that I play, and after every couple years I'll redo this video. So yeah, that's about it. Let me know some of your guys' favorite games in the comments below. I'll see you guys soon. Cheers for watching.